Two teams playing like champions right now will meet on Saturday in Eugene. It is our big story. USC has done its part over the past month, continuing to climb up the rankings, getting some respect from the CFP committee. Now they have a chance to post their best win of the year. As for Oregon, the Ducks are certainly 2 wins away from a spot in the playoff. Outside shot to get one of those byes. Right now, though, Dan Lanning and company only worried about all that Trojan talent.
Looking at what USC does, obviously Maiava Lemon is as good as they come. Jacoby Lane does a great job outside. I think this is one of the best receiving cores we've seen since we've been here, and their quarterback's playing really, really high level as well. And they have schemes that challenge you. They do a good job moving the guys around, making it tough to be able to figure out where they're at. We're playing an offense that throws for 300 and rushes for 200, so it all matters, right? But this will still be a physical football game, right? And I think physical football teams win. That's certainly going to matter in this game, but they challenge you in all ways with what they're able to do offensively.
Dan Lanning, a head coach with a defense-first background, worried about that USC offense, one of the best units in the country. So, Jake, let's start there. When USC has the ball, what does Lincoln Riley want to see from his Trojan offense, and how does Dan Lanning and this defense with Tosh Lupoy, who has done a phenomenal job, fight off that USC offense?
Well, Dan just kind of laid it out perfectly. USC has been balanced. They've been excellent running the ball, throwing the ball. It's one of the more dominant offenses in college football. I think that's a big reason the Trojans have taken a step as a program. But to me, I'm looking at the passing game with Maiava, with Lemon, with Lane, even mix in McCree and the USC tight ends. Right now, Oregon has the #1 ranked passing defense in college football. And you'd say that is good because it is good. But you start to peel back the layers a little bit and look at the opponents Oregon has faced this year. Rutgers is 22nd in passing offense. That's the best passing offense they've faced. Indiana, number 38. Oregon State, number 74. None of their other opponents are inside the top 100 in passing offense.
That's shocking.
Shocking. And USC is the 10th best passing offense, as if you need statistics to understand how dangerous they are. That is the big matchup here. Brandon Finney Jr. is a true freshman, number 4 for Oregon. I think he's playing like an All-American, not a freshman All-American, like a true All-American. Remember, he had that key pick 6 against Indiana. I cannot wait to see what they do with Brandon Finney Jr. against Maiava Lemon and Jacoby Lane. That secondary needs to play their best game of the season.
I'm glad you bring up Maiava Lemon because he's a guy, and whether you want to say it's the West Coast bias or whatever it may be, who is going to play on Sundays. He has unbelievable skills, and yet outside of coaches and opposing defenses, I don't think he gets the national respect that he deserves.
Any coach that watches the film, they say this guy's outstanding. I mean, I think he's a first-round pick. I have a Blitnikoff vote, and he was one of my finalists. I mean, that guy is just absolutely special. And then, Rick, even to go a step further now, red zone is going to be a big piece of this game. You need touchdowns, not field goals. And with a guy like Lemon, his contested catch ability is absolutely outstanding. He made some big catches in that Iowa game. I got a few more numbers for you here. I was shocked to look at this. USC is a top 10 red zone scoring offense, okay? They're top 25 in red zone touchdown percentage. That is really good. Oregon's defense, they are 132nd in red zone defense in the FBS, 126th in touchdown percentage. Now, the key is they've only allowed 13 touchdowns.
So they're not letting the opposition get into the red zone very often.
But down there, you say, hey, their teams have been able to score touchdowns. So this game is going to be, these are two great teams. It's going to be competitive, but it's in the margins that'll decide.
Well, and USC knows it, right? When you are on the road playing a top 10 team, you can't settle for 3 if 7 is an option. That's the only way you get things done offensively. Now, on the flip side, I've been really impressed by the Oregon offense, not just Dante Moore, who continues to make plays, and doing so without wide receivers. They are just absolutely obliterated in terms of injuries on the outside skill position. Sadiq also missed some time. So, Jake, what do? They go to the run against Iowa, a team that you're not supposed to be able to run on in Kinnick, and they ran right between the tackles and crushed the Hawkeyes. I would not be surprised at all if the offensive game plan is to do that and wear down this USC defense and then take your shots when the Trojans start sneaking 7-8 guys in the box.
I'm with you, Rick. That's the best antidote. When you're facing an explosive offense that you know can put up points and gash you with chunk plays, You just want to run the ball and control the clock. And then the home field advantage becomes even more important because you're just in complete control of the game. And there's a reason Oregon is a Joe Moore Award semifinalist offensive line. They've been dominant on the ground. They've been great in pass protection. And you look at where USC struggled this year. What did Illinois do? Illinois just ran right into the teeth of the Trojan defense. They couldn't stop it. What did Notre Dame do? The exact same thing. So to your point, Rick, that's going to be the game plan here, just from a strength standpoint, but from a health standpoint, Oregon is going to run right at the Trojans and dare them to stop it.
Whittington, Davison, Hill. You have to throw Dante Moore in there because when he needs to, he can certainly tuck it and run it, would rather throw it. But I think that run game against this USC defense, and I think we'll know fairly early. Right? We were shocked to see early that Oregon was able to run on Iowa. I think we know early whether this USC defense physically is going to be able to match up with this Oregon offensive line and running backs.
No doubt. And, you know, I'd point to the Iowa game, though, and say Iowa was running and gashing them in the first half. And the Trojans were able to make some adjustments and respond. But it's not going to work against Oregon. Oregon is a more complete offense than the Hawkeyes right now. But I would point to, you know, Michigan is a dominant rushing team. But the Trojans were able to jump out to a lead on them and force Michigan to have to throw the ball. You know, so if you're USC, I almost wonder, if you win the coin toss, do you take the ball? Do you try to jump out to a lead on Oregon?
I think Lincoln Riley takes the ball.
I think so too. I mean, that's one of their strengths here. So there's just so many fun matchups to explore here, and it is a playoff game effectively.
You mentioned a couple of those big USC wins. The difference from those games and this game, those games were in LA.
Right.
This one is in Eugene, and you know the crowd there will be absolutely riled up, fired up. They know how much is at stake. It's USC, Oregon, and it's coming up 3:30 Eastern on Saturday. Now it's USC, Oregon. Big Ten title game implications, college football playoff implications on the line. We focus on the quarterbacks set to face off in this game, starting with the aforementioned Jayden Maiava. I love what Lincoln Riley has done lately, utilizing Maiava in the run game as well. But he's a pass-first quarterback. And as great as Lincoln Riley is as a play caller, Jake, it comes down to players making plays. And Maiava has one terrific wide receiver who can help him do exactly that.
Rick, you said it perfectly there. In these big games, you can call a great play, but Oregon's going to have great plays defensively. That's when it becomes about players. And with Maiava, his baseline arm talent is what absolutely stands out. Can you throw the ball into tight windows in man coverage? Oh, factor in, you're going to have to do it on the run in inclement conditions. Look at this window. Iowa's in great man coverage, but that guy, Makai Lemon, is one of the best in the business. A beautiful throw there by Jayden Maiava to be able to move the chains. This one's going to be zone coverage. That was man, this one's zone. Once again, Iowa is in great position, but Maiava layers this ball in, gives his receiver a chance to go up and effectively get a rebound. There it is. Players making plays. The quarterback and wide receiver have a great relationship, and then down in the red zone, everything gets turned up a notch. It especially becomes about players down here. Again, Iowa in perfect coverage. They have him double teamed, but Maiava layers a beautiful throw in there. Once again, a jump ball for Lemon to go up and make the play. A heart-wrenching, gut-wrenching touchdown for the Iowa defense. That's what this guy does in the big moments, Rick.
Jayden Maiava did not have his best game against Iowa in lousy conditions, but he has made some phenomenal throws. And I take you back to the other quarterback in Dante Moore. You could say he didn't have his best game when the Ducks knocked off the Hawkeyes, but he made a monster throw late in that game. And that seems to be in his DNA, Jake. When the chips are down and the Ducks need him to make the best play, it doesn't matter what the rest of the game has been. Moore always seems to step up in those moments.
Absolutely. This is going to be such a fun quarterback duel between these two guys. And Dante Moore did it against Iowa. He did it earlier in the season against Penn State. Operationally, he's just one of the best quarterbacks in college football. And this is just great quarterback play. 3 deep coverage. He's going to have Kenyon Sadiq running down the seam. The big key is his eyes have to hold that middle safety just enough so he can rip this seam. You see the eyes holding that middle safety, and then there the ball is on a frozen rope right down the seam to, in my opinion, the best tight end in college football, Kenyon Sadiq. How about this? Once again, Penn State has a great play called. It's 3rd down. The rush gets there, but Dante Moore on the run, throwing across his body, finds, guess who? Kenyon Sadiq, a big chunk explosive play, ability to move the chains. on the run. Dante Moore is just one of the best quarterbacks in all of college football, and this might be the throw of the year. Iowa is playing their safety in the middle of the hashes, saying, no way in these conditions with your injuries at wide receiver are you throwing it outside the numbers. He couldn't have hand-delivered a better pass here, Rick, to his wide receiver, Malik Benson. That is the throw of the year in a gotta-have-it situation to keep Oregon's playoff hopes alive. Going to need more of that this weekend for Dante Moore.
I think it's very fair to say it doesn't always just come down to the quarterback. These guys are terrific. The Oregon defense has been terrific. The USC defense has been opportunistic. But I have a feeling on Saturday, inside Autzen, whichever quarterback plays better is going to lead their team to victory and one win away then from a spot in the college football playoff field of 12.